A woman named Eliza Leon was found dead in her apartment on June 23, 2018. When the police came to her house, they had found her body in the master bedroom, strangled to death. Foul play was involved. Searching around her house, they found a diary underneath her mattress. These are the events she had written in her diary prior to her death. When her neighbor Yolanda was questioned, she had stated she was just another victim of the Watcher. June 3rd, 2018. Dear Diary, I know it's childish to have a diary, especially with the whole Dear Diary thing, but I find it to be therapeutic. Anyway, my name is Eliza Leon, and I'm a 23-year-old girl, and just moved into a new apartment here in Los Angeles. It was time for me to move out of my parents' house, mainly because I was tired of living under their rules. It's a nice neighborhood, if I'm being honest. I'm surrounded by nice people. Like my neighbor Yolanda and her family are super nice, but when I opened their door and told them I lived down the street, they just looked at me with a strange face. Yolanda still introduced herself and told me if I need help I can ask her. When I went back to my house, it was nighttime. There's some feeling I can't seem to shake off. Well, since it's a new house, maybe that's it. Either way, I'm sure the feeling will go away later on. Until then, bye. June 4th, 2018. Dear Diary, I woke up in the middle of the night and honestly, I swear to God I saw someone in the corner of my eye. My bed is near a window, and even though I had curtains, I just felt like someone was watching me. Chills ran through my spine, so I decided to get up and walk around the house. I hoped I saw something or someone. Actually, scratch that. I don't want to see anything behind my curtains. I went back to my room and tried my best to fall asleep. It was around 4 a.m. I was able to sleep again. I woke up at 8 a.m. and I decided to see Yolanda. I didn't need to go to work until 4 p.m. since I worked the night shift as a bartender for a club called XL. Apparently it moved from Britain to here. At least those are the rumors. There are also rumors there is this man who they call the Bachelor. He's known for seducing others into his private room. Anyway, I went to go see Yolanda. She was outside with her kid, Maria? I'm too tired to remember. I walked up to Yolanda and told her I felt like someone was watching me. I asked her if it was normal, and it seemed like she spaced out for a minute. When I snapped my fingers at her, she went back to reality and she shook her head no. Suspicious. Well, it is around 10 a.m., so I think I'll write again after my shift. I'm a bit scared of The Bachelor. It's 10 p.m. now. I just got out of work and honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was able to meet the famous Bachelor. They were so right. He's so dreamy. That blonde hair, those blue eyes, and the way he bites his lip when dancing just makes me squeal. We locked eyes together a couple of times, but I bet it means nothing though. Anyway, I just took a shower, and when I was changing into my pajamas, I saw my curtain was a bit open. I thought it was strange because I remembered having it shut. When I closed my curtains, I saw something move. I don't know what it was, probably an animal? Not sure, but I decided to go outside to make sure it was an animal. When I was outside, I heard heavy breathing around me. Chills ran through my spine and I booked it to my room. I made sure to shut the curtains and sleep with one eye open. June 5th, 2018. Dear Diary, I lied. I couldn't sleep at all. I'm so tired and I regret everything. I regret living in this house. I regret not staying with my parents. I regret getting a house in this fucking neighborhood. I can't anymore with this bullshit. What happened last night was something I didn't even know what even happened to me. I was closing my eyes to sleep and then I heard my door knock. I thought it was possibly Yolanda, so I checked my peephole to see a person with a black mask staring directly at the peephole. He waved his hand at me and I backed out. I heard him walking to the right side of my house, so I quietly walked over there and checked my blinds. He began to knock softly against my window, and he saw me again. We stared at each other, and again he waved his hand. My heart sank, so I rushed to my room and called the police. The police said they'll be there ASAP, so I locked myself in my room. I kept hearing soft knocks around my windows, and then I heard banging on my bedroom window. It was around 3 a.m. and he continued knocking until the police sirens were near. I heard him take off, and then the police knocked on my door. I jolted up and my hands were shaking. I opened the door and I told them the man left. They said they'll check around my house. Although I was terrified, I didn't want to be alone, so I asked one of them to stay with me. It was a girl sitting next to me on my couch and we had small talk. The policeman came back and said he found nothing. However, he did find a note. He gave me the note and the note said, "I'll be watching you." Tears ran slowly from my eyes, and it wasn't regular ink he used. It was written in blood from something. The scent gave it away. The police put it inside a plastic bag and they said they'll analyze it to see whose blood is it. It's 11 a.m. and I haven't slept since. I'm afraid he'll come back when I fall asleep. June 6th, 2018. Dear Diary, it's 4 p.m. right now. I didn't sleep until 12 p.m. and when I woke up, I was a mess. I wanted to call in sick because I was dead shit tired, but I also didn't want to stay here longer than I was supposed to. I called in saying I'd be late, so I should be there by 5 p.m. I'm just writing a bit, and afterward I write again about work, and I fucking hope he doesn't come today. The police haven't told me anything about the note written in blood. Maybe tomorrow? It's 2 a.m. now, so that means it's June 7th. Work was fairly okay. I was still stressed out about the event of me nearly dying, but at least I was able to distress myself by drinking some gin with ice cubes. God, I wish I could drink my sorrows away. I know I can't though. When I was drinking, a bachelor came by and asked me for my name. I nearly choked on my drink and he just laughed at me. He introduced himself as Brandon. I introduced myself and told him his dancing was exciting. Brandon laughed while ruffling my hair. He mentioned he had to be the best dancer to earn money. He invited me to his private room, but I declined since I was working. Brandon seemed disappointed and walked away. I went back home by 12 a.m. and after I took a shower, I heard some footsteps on my roof. I quickly changed and walked around the house to hear the footsteps stop by the kitchen area. I heard the footsteps get quieter, and then I heard a thud as if someone jumped out. I'm a bit shook up, which is why I'm writing to help myself. Hopefully by tomorrow the police will tell me something, and I plan to set some cameras up. Until then, bye. June 7th, 2018. Dear Diary, it's 5 p.m. at the moment, and haven't had time to always write down everything, but when I do, I try my best to write every moment. It's Thursday now and I'm tired as hell. Work has been a struggle for me. I'm friends with no one but a girl named Raina. Raina Del Iglesias is a bartender and erotic dancer here in the club. She saw me sulking around and walked up to me before her show started. She ordered a martini and began to drink while talking to me. We had a small talk and she mentioned how Brandon keeps looking in my direction. I chuckled and told her we just met, nothing much. She smiled and drank the rest of her martini. She paid and left me alone. At the moment, it's my break, and I guess I'll try to talk to Brandon. I'm gonna set up cameras tonight and hope to invite Brandon or even Raina too. The police haven't given me results from the blood note. Maybe tomorrow. It's 8 p.m. now. My job is going to finish in a bit, just 2 more hours. The club hasn't been so bad in terms of orders. Brandon and Raina come by again and ask for more drinks. I asked them if they mind coming to my house to help me with camera setups. Brandon turned tense but said yes. Raina couldn't come since she has to meet someone important. I wonder why he tensed up. Anyway, I learned that Brandon came from Wales, and when he said Wales, it seemed like he cringed inside or something. I should learn more about him. Well, Raina and Brandon left, so now I have to go before my boss kills me. Until then, bye. June 8th, 2018. Dear Diary, it's 9 a.m. right now and I feel a bit better. Last night, I was able to go to Home Depot for some cameras. Brandon was able to tag along, but when we went to Home Depot, he insisted on wearing sunglasses, and he tends to stay away from a lot of people. When I asked him why he was acting so strange, he just replied with, fangirls. I scoffed, and together we went to get cameras. I was looking around the aisle, and then a security guard walked by us. I was able to sense Brandon got really tense, and he went closer to me by hiding his face on my shoulder. When the officer went away, he lifted his head and continued searching around the cameras like usual. In my head, I thought that was really suspicious. Why would he be acting like that around security? I was so confused by his actions, but we were able to get the cameras. I drove us to my house, and when Brandon was drinking water from his bottle, he choked when he saw my house. He was able to compose himself, and when I asked him why he did that, he just said it was no big deal. He thought the house looked familiar, but it's not. He kept acting so strange. I wonder if he knows anything about my house. We went inside my house and I asked him to sit on my couch as I was going to open the packages to set them up. He got a phone call and he went to the back door to answer it. I was curious about the phone call, so I sneaked around and listened in with my ear to the door. It goes as followed. Hello? Alexander? I'm at her house. Yes, it's only us. Why her? Can't you choose someone else? She's pretty, so I need her, not you. Look, tell RS to choose someone else, because I said so. As an ally, you need to obey rules. Whatever. Bye. I heard him end his phone call, so I speed walked to my dinner table where the cameras were at. When he opened the door, he looked at me with a serious face. I cleared my throat and asked him if he was going to help me set up the cameras, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. He nodded, so together we set up the cameras. We went outside and I went up the ladder to set up the cameras. He was holding on to my waist and it got me distracted because his hands were firm in my waist. I bit my lip and continued to set up the cameras. Where there were high places, he went up the ladder and set the cameras up. In each corner of my house, outside, there was a camera, along with my front door, back door, near my bedroom window, and the patio. It took us 2 hours and a half, but it was worth it. I was able to set them up via Wi-Fi and download the app on my phone. When we entered the house by 3 a.m., we heard a rustle near the bushes and heard some footsteps. I clung to Brandon's arm and urged him to get back inside with me. He looked at me and told me to stay inside. He'll take care of it. I was so confused. Was he trying to impress me? He'll die. He pushed me inside the house, slamming the front door in my face. I checked my phone for the camera footage and saw him standing in front of the door staring at the unknown. I saw him move a little more forward towards the night, and I was able to hear him whisper something muffled. I think it was this. Alex, go away. I'm with her. I'll tell RS. I saw him look at the camera, then he went out of frame. I looked at my peephole. He was standing in front of a man with a hoodie. The hooded figure looked at him with their head tilted to the right. I think they said something and Brandon said, "I'll tell him." Then the hooded figure walked away. Brandon turned around and began to walk to the door. I speed walked to the couch and sat with my knees up to my chest. I looked at him and he just had a sad face. He kissed my head and told me goodbye. I asked him if he'll come back and he looked at me and said, "Maybe. I have another job to do." I nodded with pain in my heart and then he left. I went to my bed and fell asleep. At the moment, I don't have work until 6 p.m. so I can relax as best as I can. I just wonder why Brandon is acting so strangely around me. And who is that hooded figure? Can I still trust the man who I care about? June 9th, 2018. There isn't much I can write today. It's 9 a.m. right now and I don't know. The police gave me the results from the blood note. It was the blood from me. I thought it was impossible because I wasn't hurt. I checked my body and saw I had stitches on the back of my shoulder. I didn't even know about them. Honestly, I don't even know what to do. I wasted all of my money to be in this place and my parents don't want me anymore. I'll just wait until I see Brandon or Raina later tonight. I'm just done. It's 10 p.m. now and I was able to sneak in my diary again. I tried to talk to Brandon and Raina, but they've ignored me. It hurts me deep down, but I understand. However, what Brandon pulled was strange. Who's RX? Alex? What is he hiding? I need to find answers about Brandon. I hate to think about this, but could he be working with my stalker? June 10th, 2018. Dear Diary, it's 11 a.m. now. I've eaten breakfast and done some cleaning around. Brandon still hasn't talked to me. Does he think I know what's going on? I should search on the internet about him. I know his real name is Brandon Pattinson, so that's a start. It's 3 p.m. now, and I haven't been able to find any records of a Brandon Pattinson who was born in 1990. But I did find that Brandon Peters born in Wales in 1990. According to the public records in Cardiff, he was involved with the murdering of his aunt and uncle Angelina and Eric. His school records showed he was expelled in Wales and moved to Cardiff. However, it doesn't say why. Could it be he moved from Cardiff to America? That would explain his strange behavior with the security guard. I continued to search up about Brandon Peters, and I was able to find a rare article that explained why he switched schools. I was in the middle of the article, but I heard a thump on my ceiling. I looked up, and when I saw my computer, the Wi-Fi was out. What the fuck? I looked around my house, and when I went outside, I saw my electricity wire was cut. I had to call my landlord, and he told me they'll fix the problem tomorrow. Great. Either way, I have to get ready for my job now. I can't believe Brandon has been lying to everyone. I can't even trust him anymore. June 11th, 2018. I hate this place. He came back. I came back from my late night shift and I was getting dressed to go to sleep. But I heard knocking on my door. I thought it was Yolanda, so I decided to open the door. The door got shoved into me and I hit the ground in pain. I looked up to see a man with a black skull mask. I froze in fear as we locked eyes together. I looked to his right and saw he was about to pull a knife. I snapped out of it and ran to my kitchen. I heard footsteps behind me as I frantically tried to find the knife. Just before I opened my drawer, I found him grab a fistful of my hair and he slammed me to the kitchen counter. I could feel the cold blade scraping against my neck, and then my instincts kicked in. I slammed my foot against his and I elbowed him in the rib cage. He grunted in pain as I sped away from the kitchen into my room. I ran in the bathroom as I called 911 again. I could hear light footsteps going to my room. I covered my mouth as I heard the door creak. I could hear the man eerily whispering my name. I began to shudder in fear, and then I saw a knife go through the door. I screamed in fear as I saw the man hacking away at my door. I screamed at him to leave me alone, but he didn't care. Out of sheer luck, I heard the police siren. The man stopped and dashed away from my room. When the police found me, I was still shaken up. Even now, I'm in fear. I'm still his victim. June 12th, 2018. Dear Diary, I've been thinking for a while now, ever since the incident with Brandon and finding out he's a liar. Maybe it's best I leave my job, because even though I love my job, it's too risky to work with someone who's suspicious. The stalking has been worse, and Yolanda can't help me. I asked to stay in her house, and she can't take me because she has a huge family. I'll forever regret this shithole of a house. I wish I could leave, but I can't. I feel alone. Maybe I should stay in a motel for a day or two. Maybe. It's 9 p.m. now, and I feel so sick. I had to call in sick today, and even though my boss was being an ass about it, I ignored it. I feel like throwing up all over the place. Could it be the water? The water does taste contaminated, but maybe it's just in my mind. I'll go to sleep and rest it off until I can go to the doctors. June 13th, 2018. I woke up with a huge headache and I feel like shit. It's Wednesday and honestly I want to quit the job, but it's too risky. I can't look for another job since there is no other job opening. It shouldn't be so bad, I guess. Starting today, I'll be in a motel for a week or two until I run out of money. I can't live in the house for a while because of that stupid stalker. The police can't find anything about him, and I know for sure I'm not insane. I can't be. No. It's 8 p.m. now, and my shift hasn't been bad. Brandon is finally looking at me with a smile. He came up to the bar and asked for a shot of vodka. He was able to swing in it, and then he laughed. His gloved hand played with the shot glass as he looked down at the bar. I cleared my throat and asked him why he was ignoring me for days. He looked up with his tired eye and told me it's for my own sake. What is he talking about? I asked him about who RS is, and he just looked at me with a pale face. He demanded, how do I know RS, and I just told him I heard his name when he had that stupid call. Brandon growled and walked away. What the hell? What's his problem? God, who the fuck is RS? June 14th, 2018. Dear Diary, today I woke up with a terrible headache. My head keeps spinning around and my bones feel weak. I decided to call in sick today and it was the right call. I was able to go to the motel today and I should be able to stay here for 2 days or so. I feel more relaxed since the stalker won't be able to find me here. It's 8 p.m. at the moment and I heard a knock on the door. I'll check the door in a bit. It's 11 p.m. now and when I opened the door it was Brandon. I was so confused on how he found me. I asked him how he found me and he completely ignored my question. He said he brought food and tea for me since there was gossip I was sick. I begrudgingly accepted the food and tea and went back to my bed. I looked at him as he was walking around the room that kept commenting on how poor and small this motel room looked like. I snapped at him and told him I barely have enough money to stay here, so he should shut up. Brandon looked at me as I was shivering and cold and struggling to breathe. He walked up to me and put his gloved hand on my cheek. I pushed his hand away and told him to leave. He said he wouldn't leave until I ate the food and tea he brought. I asked him to give it to me and he did. He brought French onion soup and chamomile tea. I joked why didn't he bring ratatouille and a baguette. He scoffed and said his fiancée gave it to him for lunch. I asked him why didn't he eat it and he said he cares for me. Bullshit. The fact he has a fiance, like, what else is he hiding from me and others? Does anyone else know? When I drank the tea, I nearly threw it up because the tea tasted so strange. I commented on it, and Brandon sneered at me and said his fiance's mother made it for me, so I should drink it all. I glared at him and told him he should drink it too. He looked at me and scoffed and said I'm being ungrateful for not drinking it. I gave the cup to him and I looked away. However, that was a mistake. He grabbed my face and poured the tea into my mouth. I spit it at him and then he slapped me. He screamed at me for being ungrateful and he hopes the stalker finds me again. He slammed the door on me and sped his car. I can't believe he did this to me. Why did he become so aggressive towards me? I need to find more answers about his story. June 15th, 2018. Dear Diary, I woke up with a dizzy headache and had to call in sick again. Of course, my boss was angry, but I told him I can't even stand up without throwing up and starting to breathe. My head is pulsing and my lungs are on fire. I was taking up a small nap until a text woke me up. I opened it to see it was Brandon texting me. He apologized about yesterday and he wanted to send money so I can go to the doctor's. I was desperate for money, so I decided to accept it, but I would never forget his actions. It took me nearly 2 hours to get up from bed and walk myself to the taxi I called. Brandon gave me enough money so I can go to the doctor's and get something to eat. So, thanks, Brandon, I guess. He called me and asked if he wants to have him bring more food and tea, but I declined and said I'll buy something. I can sense some tension between us, so I told him I had to leave. At the moment, I'm at the doctor's office and I hope I find what's wrong with me. I came back from the doctor's and they did some blood work on me. They found out I have low blood pressure and gave me some medication to help out with my headaches. They think it's iron deficiency mixed with allergies. They're planning on sending my blood to a lab to see what else is wrong. I paid and left the office, but of course Brandon called me again. He asked on how I was doing and I said it's all fine. He wanted to mend things with us, but I said no because what he did to me was suspicious and I didn't want him to find out my plan when I go back to work. I'm planning on going to my boss's office and tell him everything I found. I hope it all goes well, fingers crossed. For some reason, I feel like I'm not alone. Wait, it can't be. He couldn't have found me. No, it's just my head, right? June 17th, 2018. Dear Diary, I missed a day in my diary because something weird happened at work. I was able to get my laptop from my house with the help of my sister's friend. I was able to download some articles I was able to find. However, I couldn't find what happened in Wales from Brandon's life. The articles about him transferring were somehow deleted and it took me longer to get his public records. It's like someone knows I'm researching him. Could it be him or the stalker? Anyway, I was able to go back to work and I was able to find my boss, Mr. Gore, in his office. However, when I opened the door, Brandon was there. I must have interrupted something because Brandon was a little too close to Mr. Gore. I cleared my throat and told Mr. Gore I wanted to speak to him privately. Mr. Gore whispered to Brandon and Brandon left. When Brandon left the room, he shoved my shoulder with his, and when I looked back at him, he was sticking out his middle finger at me. I closed the door and showed the files I had downloaded him on my laptop about Brandon. I was explaining to him that Brandon is not the person who everyone thinks he is. I had told him I connected the dots between the murder of his family and him. I was convinced Brandon Pattinson is Brandon Peters who escaped from Britain to America for the police. When I presented my theory, Mr. Gore looked at me and pulled his lighter from the drawer. When I looked at it closely, it had bloodstains. It turned on the lighter as he looked at me with his eyebrow arched. He pulls out a cigarette and lights it without breaking eye contact. With his heavy French accent, he explains that the internet is full of lies. He leans forward from his desk as he takes a puff of his cigarette. He blows the smoke on my face and says, "Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Hold this shit again and you're fired." He grabs my arm and angrily grinds his cigarette on it. I wail in pain and pull away from his grasp. I hold my arm as he yells at me to get out of his office. When I get out of his office, I could see Brandon smirking at me as he waves goodbye to me when I was walking to my locker to get ready for work. I looked at my arm to see a fresh cigarette burn on it. I was able to find the first aid kit and wrapped it up. During my work hours, Mr. Gore would walk around the club as he locked eyes with me. Did I just create a new enemy? June 18th, 2018. Dear Diary, I woke up today to see my cigarette wound looking slightly better. I decided to walk out of my motel room to get some fresh air. However, when I walked out, I saw a bag with cups of tea in it. It also included a note. The note goes as following. Dear Eliza, I hope your cigarette burns feel better with this tea. BP. The fucking asshole decided to send me tea? Ironically, my sister's friend Jasper texted me and asked me out for a cup of coffee. I decided to accept it because he gave me my laptop yesterday from my house, and I'll gladly drink anything else but this fucking tea. I met him in a nearby coffee shop, and he was rambling about his major in biochemistry in the special college he's in. However, when he mentioned the thesis he's making about chemicals in liquid, that sparked my interest. I did get a new batch of Brandon's tea, and hopefully Jasper can test to see if there are any nitrates in it. So I decided to explain the strange symptoms I had with the tea after consuming it, and Jasper was interested, therefore accepted my request. He started to talk about himself again, which I tuned out. He's kind of like Brandon, which I do despise, but at least he paid for my coffee. The stalker hasn't come to the motel, so I should be fine. Tomorrow is going to be my last day at the motel, so by the next day I will have to deal with the stalker. The police haven't been able to follow up any leads, and the neighbors claim they haven't seen anyone. Not sure if I can believe it though. I'm tired. I'll just rest for tonight. Until then, bye. I just woke up today around 3 a.m. to see I had a voicemail from my boss, Mr. Gore. The voicemail was him firing me for stealing from the club. Bullshit. He's firing me for knowing too much about Brandon. I sighed and decided to get up from my motel bed and get some fresh air. I can sense my shoulders were tense, and I knew I had to relax before I got a heart attack. The air was cold and there was a gentle wind blowing my hair. I was sitting on top of my car hood as I was looking up at the stars, and I can feel warm tears spilling from my eyes. I've been going through all of this abuse for nothing. Why have I been sticking up with this bullshit for weeks? I didn't have hope anymore. I'm surprised I've made it this far. Of course, I could never take a break from the stalker. Now I was shutting my eyes outside, I felt a piece of paper land on my nose. I opened my eyes and grabbed the note. The note said, "Missed me?" I looked around as my heart began to beat faster. Where was the man? Where was he? I looked to my far left to see a man underneath the streetlight. I can tell he knew I was staring at him because he began to wave at me. In a blink of an eye, he began to run towards me. I jumped off of my car hood and ran to my motel room. I locked the door and began to pack all of my clothes, but it was too late. He was able to knock the door down and we stood face to face again. My heart was pumped with adrenaline and I was able to use my laptop to smack him down. Bad mistake, because my laptop snapped in two. I cussed as he was able to get up again, so I just grabbed my car keys and his diary and booked it to my car. When I turned on the car, he was pounding on my window, and he was so close to cracking it until I reversed it and drove to my house. I looked at my rear view mirror and saw he was just standing there. I'm at my house and I realized I fucked up because my laptop is broken and it had all of the evidence I needed. I was able to get my phone, but I doubt I can find the articles again. It's 6 a.m. right now and I'll try to clean myself up. Until then, bye. June 20th, 2018. I missed the rest of June 19th because I had no time to write anything else in. Yesterday, when I was cleaning myself up and put on a set of new clothes, I got a call from Jasper. We were talking for an hour and he was able to confirm my suspicion. The tea did have nitrates, but it wasn't a lethal dosage. So I asked him what else could have given me the nitrate poisoning, and then he told me it's possible to get it from skin contact. I began to softly tear because I remembered when Brandon went to my motel room. He had touched my cheek with his gloved hand. I knew he had dipped his gloved hand with nitrates and passed it to me to get sick. The insane bastard has been torturing me for weeks and weeks. For what? Why does it have to be me? Why do I have to be the victim? What's so special about me? I can't think of anything reasonable as to why they chose me. I ended the call and decided to call Reina. She was in the club working since it was around 7 p.m. when I called her. She was asking me so many questions on why I wasn't at work and what happened when Mr. Gore screamed at me. I explained to her I've been going through some personal issues and quit the job. I didn't want to put her in danger, so I kept it vague as possible. She was going to say something until I heard her bickering with Mr. Gore. Mr. Gore got her phone and told me to fuck off. The call ended and now I was alone. I decided to go to the nearby police station because I knew I had to act faster now, especially since the stalker found me in the motel room. I didn't want to be alone in the dark. However, when I was driving my car, I saw another car driving too close to me. I checked my rearview mirror to see a black face mask. I tensed up and stepped on my gas to go faster. I was on the highway, alone with this car. I knew it was a stalker, so I decided to swerve the car to lose him. But it was a mistake. He was able to go side by side with me, and I saw him look at me. We locked eyes, and then his car hit mine. In a split second, my car was tumbling on the highway, and I was upside down. My head was dizzy, and when I looked up, the stalker looked at me and patted my head. He whispered to me to be calm because if I didn't, I would see God. I began to freak out, but I couldn't move because my seatbelt wouldn't budge. I could see fire surrounding me, and then I blacked out. I woke up in a hospital bed with minor bruises on my body and a broken leg. The officers asked me what I remembered, and I told them everything. I told them someone was poisoning me and I was being stalked, and he tried to kill me. They looked at me skeptically and looked at each other. I begged for them to listen and believe me, but they called in the doctor. The doctor looked at me and they sent a psychiatrist to evaluate me. The woman named Dr. Berry asked me simple questions. When I told her about the stalker and the tea poisoning, she assumed it was all in my head. And no, it's not in my head. The police can't help. The doctors can't help. Dr. Berry can't help. No one can help me. They decided to discharge me and it's 10 p.m. now. The doctors gave me the medication again and Dr. Berry wants me to go to a group therapy session in 5 days. I tried to call Jasper to confirm there was tea in the nitrates, but he didn't pick up. I called him 10 times and on the 11th time I heard a voice say, "Hello, Eliza." Jasper can't reach the phone at the moment. He's dead. I screamed and ended the call. I've called the police to go to his house and they'll give me an update later. God, I've endangered so many people. I'm sorry. June 21st, 2018. Dear Diary. Jasper is dead. He's dead. He died because of me. How did they find out? My phone? They tapped my phone. I should have known. I broke my phone into pieces and found the chip on my battery. That's how they've been tracking me. Should have left my phone at the motel. I'm such an idiot. I'm responsible for his murder. I don't know what else to say. No one believes me. No one cares. I can't talk to anyone without them calling me insane. But I know I'm not. I know I'm not insane. I can't be insane. Because I know Brandon and the stalker are working together. They have to be. Why else would Brandon act suspicious? Why else would the stalker find where I am? How could have the stalker tapped my phone? I'm just a mere victim of their game, and I can't sleep tonight without thinking they'll find me. I decided to check the cameras after not doing so for days since I was at the motel, and my blood ran cold. There were camera angles where I can see the stalker looking through the windows and standing still for hours on end. I can't believe this. I'm not safe anymore. I took footage of the cameras and I just prayed to God I'll make it out alive. June 22nd, 2018. Dear Diary, I'm not insane. I know this. I can hear walking and knocking around my house. Someone is watching me. I can feel I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. It's almost midnight and I can sense someone is watching me. Was this their plan? To stalk me until I give up? Well, they've won the game. Everyone thinks I'm insane and everyone is against me. Brandon Peters is working with the stalker. They've worked together to kill me. I know I'll die. June 23rd, 2018. He found me. I'm hiding in my bedroom. I can hear his footsteps. He got in. My cameras around the house were busted. God, please help me. Please. I don't want to die. Please. Those were the last diary entries found in Eliza Leon's diary. She was found on her bed lying with a rope mark on her neck. Her neighbors called the police after they heard her scream. When the police came by, the neighbors claimed they saw two men running away from the scene. One wore a black hoodie while the other one had blonde hair. So far, there is no suspects due to the lack of evidence. Eliza Leon was laid to rest in the Evergreen Cemetery located in Los Angeles. Her neighbor, Yolanda, had informed the police about a certain house being known for having people claim about being stalked, who the community names the Watcher. Further investigation will continue to see if they can find the two men and the possible suspect of the Watcher.